we're going to be using some dry ice and we're going to get some bubbles to float on the top. Before we get into this demonstration, I want to remind you or let you know that we have a safety video talking about dry ice and how we handle it, how we deal with it at the end of this video. Please make sure you watch that. Alright, to run this demonstration you need to have something that's large. A big bowl would work, but a fish tank is really nice. So this is a small fish tank, usually works really nice. You need to have some dry ice, which I have right here underneath of this towel. I'm trying to slow down the sublimation, so I'm going to keep that covered up. You need to have some bubbles. You could have some, what is this, wedding bubbles. These work really nice because what it does is it produces some really small bubbles. Or you can grab some kids bubbles at the store, and these wands, they're pretty small as well. So I'm going to slide these ones to the side so that you can hopefully see what's happening here. And I'm going to add in from another demonstration, I'm going to add this in just for fun. I'm going to throw in a little candle there and we're going to see the candle go out. Alright, so I'm going to take some water. I'm going to pour it into the bottom, so that's another thing that you need is a little bit of water. The whole purpose for the water is to get the sublimation to occur faster. I'm going to take this candle, we're going to light it down inside here. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to take this dry ice and I'm going to set it down inside here. So if I take this dry ice and set it right next to the candle, what we're going to find is pretty soon that candle is going to go out. Now the neat thing, if you can see it right now, if you're looking at this, is you can see the sublimation occurring. I'm going to talk about the science about this behind this right now. Dry ice goes from a solid to a gas. It doesn't stop by the liquid phase. So that's sublimation right there. And we can make that speed up by applying some water. And there we go, our candle just went out. So that kind of tells us the level of the carbon dioxide gas. So right now, the level of the carbon dioxide gas is way down there by that candle. So I'm going to throw in a couple more large chunks on either side here. Okay, and as I'm handling this, I'm making sure it's moving in my hands. It's not staying in one spot for much time at all. So I'm giving this a little bit of time. And we're building up inside of here some carbon dioxide gas. So dry ice is solid carbon dioxide. As it sublimates going into a gas, now we've got a bunch of gaseous carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is heavier, it's more dense than air. So as I take something like some bubbles here and try to blow them in, let's see what happens. Not the best bubble blower, but then again, maybe I am. Not really. So you can look in here and you can see these bubbles that appear to be floating just in mid-air. But what are they doing? They are floating on a cushion of carbon dioxide gas. They are floating because they are much less dense than the carbon dioxide gas, which we can see is right about there. So pretty neat thing. We've got the bubbles that appear to be floating in air. Alright, in the video that you just watched, I was working with dry ice. What I want to do is I want to talk about the safety of dry ice, but this is not all inclusive. I would encourage you to also check the safety data sheets on carbon dioxide on dry ice yourself. So let me tell you some of the things that I do, but I would encourage you to go above and beyond what I've got. Okay, so you notice I've got some safety glasses, goggles, those would be a nice thing to have. Also gloves. You should probably be having gloves for this if you're going to be handling them for a long time or applying some pressure, because dry ice right here, this sublimates, which means it goes from a solid to a gas at a very low temperature. So in Fahrenheit, that's negative 109.3 degrees Fahrenheit. In degrees Celsius, it's a negative 78.5 degrees Celsius. So this is really, really, really cold. So if you go outside on a snowy day, you know, you could get frostbite if you're out there for a long time. Or even if you have ice on you, you've got a little while. But with this right here, this dry ice, without gloves, if I set this in my hand, right about there, that's about how long you have until it's going to start hurting, because it could be harmful beyond that point. It could actually freeze your cells and we could have some serious damage. So as you're working with dry ice, you need to have gloves. Thin gloves like this aren't going to do the trick, even if you have gloves like this. So maybe some kitchen gloves for doing the dishes. This right here, it's not very thick and it's not going to protect you for very long. So warm gloves like this, snow gloves, or an oven mitt, those are things that will protect your hands if you're going to be working with this. Now, if you've worked with dry ice quite a bit, or if you want to work with dry ice quite a bit, and if you look at me right now, I've got the dry ice and I keep it moving. And if it keeps moving where it's not coming into contact with my hands for very long, then I'm okay. But again, if I take it and I set it right here, right about there, that's when it's going to start to sting. So I don't know what that was, maybe about 2 to 3 seconds. That's something that you need to be really careful about with dry ice. Now, I've seen videos before and I've seen people take this, they'll put it in their mouth and they'll do the same thing. They'll move it around and they'll blow out, smoke, carbon dioxide smoke. Don't do that. That's not very smart. All right, so the safety of dry ice, please be safe.